because I really only have time to do it while I'm driving around doing my other stuff. I just run to the Hamilton Costco to get gas like I usually do early on the weekends, and I throw 1 or 2 gas cans in the back, so they're sitting in my garage to fill up the wife's car during the week. But it's just led me in my mind to talking about sleep and morning rituals and how they come together. The first thing I gotta admit is, like, I use a sleep aid to get to sleep. I have prescription sleep aid, and in Canada it's considered safe, effective, and non-habit forming. But I don't believe that, having been on it now for over a year. And I apologize for how dark it is, but I can't put on the cabin lights while I'm driving, especially right now. It's raining, and I need the visibility on the road. So, and if you hear the wipers, I apologize. But I've been on this for a long time, and every time I try to cut down, and I've been cutting down by like literally taking the tablets and cutting a tip off the end and reducing down. Every time I get to a certain point to where I'm about 3/4 of the dose I'm on, no matter how slowly I go, I just suddenly just start getting really poor night's sleep, and it makes everything the next day more difficult, makes my heart more touchy. So I'm in a bit of a bind there. So if any of you have been on prescription sleep aid like Zopiclone or something, now I know in the U.S. they actually banned Zopiclone because it is habit forming, but in Canada they feel it's not. So I wish I'd known that when I went on it. I never would have went on it. But there it is. So I sleep quite well when I'm on it, and it's not like I'm hungover or anything like that. It's just that I don't want to be dependent on something. And at its heart, it is like some sort of benzo, and you don't want to be on benzos. I mean, it's not a category of drugs that you want to be dependent on. And I feel like the longer I'm on the benzos, the more dependent I might get on it to sleep. So I'm trying to cut down. Maybe I just have to suck it up, and this winter just have a month of not ideal sleep and just get off these things. So one of the things I notice, though, when I am tired is my morning rituals start to go out the window, and it can be something that just turns into a cycle. And I did a video not long ago about the cycle, stress emotional cycle. But for me, wow, it is really dark in the cabin. I apologize. For me, the cycle is that I'll typically get up and get something done. So this morning, I'm getting gas, which is because I go to the Costco to save money. Gas is very expensive right now in Canada. So I go to the Costco. I can fill my truck with gold for cheaper than I can buy bronze in town, and I actually get an extra 10% mileage on the gold for my truck, because it sort of auto senses the gas or in some way, and I do notice that I get about 10% more kilometers. So by doing that, I get maximum fuel efficiency. But so going to the gym now to use a tanning booth, because that is over the winter my seasonal affective disorder treatment. Is I just go a couple of minutes on a regular basis, 4 or 5 times a week, and tan. After I do the tan, I just feel zinging with energy all day long. I'm just a whole different bear, really a whole different bear. So, and because it just gets rid of the seasonal affective disorder for a day or two completely. It's like I'm a normal person. So I just keep doing that. It's a great drug-free treatment for me. But when my morning rituals start going out the window, when I instead I just want to either sleep in or just get up and sit at my desk with a coffee or on the couch with a coffee and scroll through, what I consider toxic for my mind, which for me that means consuming the news. I find the news very toxic overall, and I'm very interested in the news. I'm very interested in politics, but I find once I overindulge, it becomes like a drink. You can have You can have 2 beers, it's not a problem, but if you start having 12 every day, it's a problem. And it's the same if you're watching, 1 to 2 hours of content that, while it interests you, it's also sort of stressing you out and not instead of taking your mind away from your problems for a little while, it's just adding to the things you struggle with, the problem that's in your mind. And so when I start drifting that way, and the morning rituals stop, like a morning run, it all sort of goes. So, I mean, I guess I'm just talking about it, but I'm trying to be mindful that when I get up in the morning, am I like being productive or am I being unproductive? And when I'm being productive in the morning, when I'm doing that without having to push myself out the door, when I'm just wake up at 5:30 like today and with just time to get it done, rolled out of bed, took my morning medications, got out, started truck warming up, I just naturally, organically wanted to do that. I know I'm on point, and when I'm having to push myself, or even I decide, I'm just gonna go back to sleep, and then I just go through it 2 or 3 times. I wake up and go back to sleep, wake up. It's not that I didn't need to sleep, but I never get that feeling of waking up raring to go, and that makes the whole day harder. So the test for me is when I see it more than a day where I wake up and I'm not eager to get something done, because I always have all these projects in my mind of shit I need to do. So I have no shortage of things I need to do. And if I wake up and just want to get to it, I'm probably going to diet well that day. I'm probably going to exercise that day. I'm probably going to turn away from stuff that's really bad for me. I'm probably not going to consume news or politics that bring my mood down. I'm probably not interested in that. I'm probably not on Facebook, scrolling through Facebook a lot. And it all becomes, one builds on the other for a much better day. So mornings for me are my barometer. They tell me, if I look back at the end of the day, every time where I failed on my diet or, failed to exercise that day, it always started with not really wanting to get up out of bed. So that's my little thoughts. What I'd really love is to hear if any of you have been on Zopiclone and have had success just coming off it, and what approach you took, because I'm having a very hard time getting these things out of my life. It's not they do anything for me. Like they don't seem to have any impact on me, except I sleep great when I use it, and I sleep terrible when I try to cut it down. I just can't get restful sleep. So that's my little live morning. I was so excited last night. We had our first guest on the live stream, and Big Said was just such a charismatic and well-spoken man, and I'm so glad that he's going to come back. And we traded text numbers, and we've been shooting texts at each other. So I feel like my world just expanded a little bit into Michigan. Like I've got a brother in AFIB in Michigan, and tonight we have the live stream with the AFIB patient experience, who's a great guy. We spoke once. We had a short meeting on Google Meets just to flesh out how we might like to collaborate together. And I think we're going to have a show tonight. It's going to be a more focused show. Whoa, action ahead. Oh my. Oh my. I don't know if you heard me there, but the whole highway is covered in auto parts. Wow. Doesn't look like anyone's hurt, but it's hard to tell. This is always a really bad stretch of road. It's a stretch that approaches the Hamilton Skyway. If you've ever been through the corridor from Hamilton to Toronto, this is right before the Skyway, and people here have no respect for politeness when they drive. Let's say. Anyway, it's going to be a more focused show tonight. So I believe we settled on the topic of AFib anxiety because we both definitely experienced that, and we both feel very comfortable of discussing it publicly. So if that's something you've struggled with, you'll definitely want to tune in tonight. I'm thinking we might go live around 8. We're meeting at 7:30, but there's a bit of work you have to do when you meet to just get the guests and the scenery ready, like pre-production work, let's say. And so I'm hoping we can go live for 8. I also learned a little lesson last night when I scheduled a go live from the software that I use, which is EVMux, which, by the way, I got a lot of compliments on the format, and it's because EVMux made it simple. And I've when I started this channel, I said I'm not doing affiliate things, but I'm doing one for them because first they made me a great deal, and their product, they just keep investing in new features, like this constant updates of new features, and they're just going to be the leader in this thing, and I'm just so glad that that's the platform I selected. So hell yeah, I made them an affiliate link. If you're thinking of getting into video podcasting, and now they're catering to the audio podcasting, those are the guys. I mean, they have a great product. So we're doing a more focused talk on AFib anxiety, and not just the anxiety you get when your heart goes nuts. I mean, this is going to be a deeper talk from two guys who we both have analytical backgrounds, and we spent a lot of time each internally contemplating and coming up with approaches to dealing with this anxiety in our lives. So we're going to share that with you in a public way and have an honest, frank discussion about AFib anxiety. And I'm really looking forward to the second live stream with my second guest. I mean, just this massive, to me, from my point of view, from my little corner of the world, this seems like just a massive community building platform for AFib patients everywhere. I mean, I had people in the live stream that were like, 40 with AFib, and I had 75 years young lady telling us about, exercising on the cruise ship, and it just brought all these people together for an hour, and we just talked about what's always on our mind, which is always on the back of your mind is your AFib. So happy today, feeling very happy, very lucky, very blessed to have broken out to the point where I can put up a live stream and actually people come into the conversation, because I'm just big enough to get 5 or 10 people in the chat that want to mix it up, and it just made the show so much better. And the live streams are fun. If you see one of the live streams, I'm going to get to the comments sooner in the stream, because I was new with the tool last night. It was my first real interview on the live stream, so I didn't notice the comments going on for the first half hour. I would have brought them in sooner, but now I'm going to make a point, look for those comments sooner, and I want the audience to interact with us. I'm also going to see about simulcasting to Facebook at the same time. So I don't know how well that's going to work out, but I just want every time I do a show or a video, I try to improve one thing, and so this will be the thing I try tonight. And the other thing I'm going to try to improve is I found that my microphone was set a little too sensitive, so there was a bit of an imbalance between my guest volume and my volume. And I was getting a lot of sort of a higher S sound and a T sound when I spoke, where my guest, I felt he sounded a lot more natural. So I think I just need to move the mic back a little bit and look at the gain setting on the mic. So the microphone makes it really easy to do that, which is why I picked that kind of microphone. So, and I hope you all join us. I'm just so excited to go and film my second live stream. I feel like this is such a fun hobby, and compared to other social media platforms that can just be so negative, the community on YouTube, for the content makers, maybe it's different for the political people and the entertainment people, but for people making like content and health content, that it's just so positive, and there's just such good vibes. I'm just so happy about it all. So I thank you for listening in this morning, and I'm going to wish you having a great weekend. Thanks.